What's going on, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Showtime 804, aka LA. Welcoming y'all back to my channel, Bird Gang Mafia. For all of those who subscribed already, thank you. I appreciate that. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, so that way we can keep this Mafia train moving. So, got a good game this morning, well, this afternoon, I should say, against the Baltimore Ravens at 1 o'clock. Not looking forward to this game. Yeah, it's going to be a tough test for us, especially with all the moving parts and moving components we've got going on with this roster, and especially all the turmoil that's been going on within the front office the last couple of weeks. This offensive line going into this game, it doesn't set well. We've got another starting five offensive line going into this game. We've got Joe Malata at left tackle, Nate Herbig at left guard, Jason Kelsey at center. Not Matt Pryor at right guard. I'm trying to think who is playing right guard. That's here nor there. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamon Brown. So we finally going to activate him for the first time this year. And then at right tackle, we're going to start Jack Driscoll. Now, this is causing some concern because we don't have any depth on that offensive line. All of our depth is now starting. And those who are sitting in the weights have never played an NFL snap. So again, this rests on the irresponsibility of Howie Roseman of putting the best, roster available for us on Sundays. We had that early tease with Cordy Glenn signing, and again we don't have anybody. Our swing tackle as of right now is Brett Toth. And probably a lot of you guys don't know who that is. He's been a guy who's been on our practice squad possibly the last 2 years. So he's practiced against a good defensive front, but he's never seen any action. And with a $100 million quarterback, we can't keep having guys making their first NFL snaps for our team. So it's just a bad play on Howie Roseman as far as the team that he's put together. Travis Fulgham, we're going to expect a lot of, similar a repeat performance that he played in the Pittsburgh Steelers game. Baltimore does have some good corners, but I think the one that we should target would be Marcus Peters, because he is going to take some chances, which will cause him to get beat. And I believe that from what we've seen from Travis Fulgham, he can expose Marcus Peters if given that situation. Miles Sanders, we got to come with a heavy dose of him. I'm not going to necessarily say we need to run the ball, but we just need to give him the ball in space. And it becomes frustrating being an Eagles fan because we see time and time again how teams are able to beat us because of our aggressive front. Quick slants, screen games, jet sweeps, stuff like that. But yet we don't employ that in our offenses. Baltimore has an aggressive front, but our screen game is just very blah. It's vanilla. It's, Andy Reid was one of those guys who was the master of the screen game, and Doug Peterson comes from Andy Reid. So why is it that we just lack that importance of a good screen game? We've seen it in years past where it was very effective, but now it's just there. Like Boston Scott would be the guy who we want to run those screens with if we need to spell Miles Sanders. I don't want to see Corey Clement take another handoff or another screen pass. His time is done, and we should have activated Elijah Holyfield a lot sooner. Even giving Michael Warren something that needs to take place, because as we get to the colder months, we're going to need that bigger back, and I don't think Miles Sanders is a back that's capable of handling that kind of workload. Now, I'm not saying he's not a bad back, but he's more on the smaller side. So when it gets cold, you don't want that big body running into you. Hell, if LeGarrette Blount is around, let's see, we like picking up older guys who play for us, so give him a couple of games and see what we can do for him, as long as Jay Ajayi doesn't have to step foot back on our field. As far as our defense goes into this game, now Lamar Jackson has been hobbled as of lately. I still don't trust Nate Gary on the field with him. But with the injury to Duke Riley, we will see some action from Sean Bradley today. The biggest question mark is, when is Davion Taylor going to take field? We know he's been a project in the eyes of Jim Schwartz, but the man has natural talent, raw natural talent, and he's got speed. So I would like to see him in somewhat of a spying role this week on Lamar Jackson. Like I said, he has been hobbled. And I think what they're trying to do with him this year is to protect him, because they know he is next up for that big contract in the Patrick Mahomes realm. So they don't want him running around, because you create more of a risk on him because of him running. So if we have to have him to be a pocket quarterback, then that bodes well for our defense. We just need to have more pressure. We just can't rely on their front four. It's just not enough. We need to start giving him different looks because he's not the most savvy quarterback in the pocket. A lot of his stuff is improvisational and throwing on the move. But if he's stationary, that gives us a better chance for succession in this game. I called last week a low-scoring game, and it turned into a shootout. I don't think that this one is going to be much of a shootout, but in the end, I'm never going to root against the Eagles. So I want to call this game 23-19. We're going to get a late touchdown, possibly to Travis Fulgham. I don't like that the fact that they try to make an emphasis of imploring Zach Ertz this week in practice, so that it's almost like they're going to try to force feed him the ball to try to build his ego back up. But in the end, if he is going to be on the trade block, we do need to improve his numbers so that way we can maximize his value. We would love to have Carson have a clean game, no turnovers, but with this defense and this offensive line, I don't see it happening. If we could just limit him to just maybe one interception, because these multiple interception games are killing him, because that's not the type of quarterback that he is. We all know that he's a better version of a product than what he's displaying on this field. I would like to see Jalen Hurts deactivated, because the games that Jalen Hurts has been active, it looks like Carson is playing worse and worse and worse, because he has that fear of Jalen Hurts, taking his spot, and that's what he doesn't want. Another thing I would like to see, because we started activating all these wide receivers, is to see Greg Ward take a chance on returning a punt or two, because we're just killing ourselves in terms of field position. We're not getting the best out of our special teams, because he always has the fair catch, and if he does, it's going to be a minimal return where he's something quick and he just steps out of bounds, so maybe 2 to 3 yards at the most. We're not putting ourselves in the best position possible. Yards are going to come at a premium because of the injuries that we sustained as a team. So moving forward, we just got to try different things. We're not going to see too much of a roster turnaround. The reports are that D Jackson, Alshon may play next week, and I think that's a bit selfish, because they're going to wait for a lesser opponent to try to come back, and Doug has already stated that it's their spots to lose. And another thing that I saw this morning, that Vinny Curry is going to be activated. So that also looks like another Howie Roseman move, as him, having an imprint on the game day rosters, because what has Vinny Curry done for us this year in terms of production? I know he's been hurt, but he's not the same player that he was back in the 2015 season, where he pretty much had maybe, I think, 9 sacks or something like that. Those days are long gone. We need those young guys getting those reps on field. I don't want to see him take away from Josh Sweat or Jannard Avery. We've seen what those guys have been able to do, given a chance to be on the field. So taking away from them is a bad move for this team. We're almost at the halfway point of the season, and it's a bad assumption or a prognosis of what this team has been about, because we've been ravaged by injuries. So as we get healthier, I do think that that's going to bode well for the team, because it's going to give a better representation of what this team is actually made of. And we'll see better performances on that team, because we do need a playoff. We're going to need make a run at some point in time of the season for a playoff push. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go deep into the playoffs, but, just getting into the playoffs means the world, because anything can happen once you get into the playoffs. But that's my take on today. Hopefully I'll be in a better mood after, around 4:30. And we'll, take possession back of first place in the division, because I don't see Dallas winning Monday night against Arizona. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take care of business today, get this W. I'm going to talk with y'all later.